Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I am making up the wedge clamps for the mounting bracket for my vise. I'm starting with a piece of car coil spring that's been straightened out. Now, I knew when I started that it might end up a bit slim and I might have to put a little filler piece in, which I ended up having to do. Now, to start with, I just want to flatten it off and just make it small enough that it will fit into the grooves that we've machined into the side of the bracket. Okay, second heat just to keep working it down. As you can see, I'm swinging my big hammer, a 4-pound little sledgehammer, just to try and bring it down quick. Yeah, my normal hammer that I use is engineer's hammer, and it's just not got the same weight to it, and it's not going to move the metal as quickly. So the big sledge does better for this one. Okay, at this stage when we're checking the size, yep, it fits in the hole. So that's close enough for now. We'll refine that after we put a bit of a wedge on it. Now here I'm just marking the width of the bracket, just so I know how far to make the wedge go on that flat piece that we've made out of the round spring. Okay, so now we've got that flat up on edge and we're just drawing a taper down. So I want to work mainly at the tip of it and bring that down further and then slowly decrease the amount I'm bringing it down as I work backwards, just so I end up with a slight wedge to the shape. Okay, and then we're laying it over on the flat again, just to straighten up any sort of cupping or anything, bring it back down to that same sort of thickness. We just want to get that nice flat plane. As we work it downwards, obviously it's going to make it wider, so we just want to bring it back together. Next up, we'll grab our bracket and just check the fit. And there we go, all fits in, beautiful. Okay, next I'm using a center punch just to mark where the bracket finishes up. Now I should have actually made it a wee bit thinner. The metal stretches out when I thin down for the C section of the clamp and it ends up being a bit too long. So I should have shortened it back a bit, but it will still work the way I've done it. Okay, back out of the fire, just identify where that center punch mark is. And then put the center punch mark over the edge, hit down half on, half off blows on the anvil, and just setting down, just so I'm got the material going up where the C-clamp section is. Flatten it all out. And in for another heat so we can set down on the back end. Okay, back out at heat. Again, just identify where that mark is, and this time over the back side of the anvil, and just half on, half off, and set that material down. All I'm doing here is giving it a little notch just so it won't slip out when I wedge it all up. So now just flipping it over and working down that center section just so it matches where I've done the set downs. And of course hitting the flat of it just to keep it all at the same material thickness. Okay, especially when you're working a hard material like this 5160 that the spring's made out of, you want to keep a fairly high heat because it does get brittle when you're at colder temperatures. So back in for heat again and just working down that center section just to give me that nice flat profile there, working on the sides to get a nice flat profile there. And of course as I'm working on the center section, I've got to hold it to the wedge, and that's why I formed the wedge before I started forming that little C-section. Okay, and just testing as we go along, just making sure, seeing whether everything fits up. And as you can see, it's a little bit wide there, so I still need to take some width out of it. So we'll go in for another heat and do that. Okay, not a lot of work this time. We've just got to bring that size down to suit. We have been there already, so it's just a matter of just bringing it down where I've widened out that C-section. So not big blows, just knocking it in. We don't want to hit it too hard and then knock more metal into the C-section, because we're going to end up going backwards and forwards. Alright, back in again, give another try. And as you can see, fits in, works beautifully. Just make sure that it all sits up snug. So when working against another piece, you just want to keep checking it, making sure it's all working right. So there we go, C-section sits forward, everything flows through, good to go. Now from here, I'm going to let it cool off, and then I'm going to tidy it up with the grinder. And then I need to form the wedge for the other side, exactly the same as the first part, just without the C-section. Alright folks, there we are, the finished product. Set of folding wedges. I've had to use a shim in there. Ended up just a wee bit short. That was the worry when I put the lugs in, but the lugs just stopped that first one from being able to slip out. Simply a matter of driving the wedges together, and it'll tighten up as you go. So once that's around the vise, it's just a matter of driving those wedges in and giving a nice tight fit. So there we are, that is the wedges made up for the mount. So next up we can start making the actual stand for it and mounting up our vise. Alright, thank you very much for watching everyone. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that little bell notification so you know when there's further videos coming out in this or any other series. Again, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.